Hello and welcome to the video. You join me here today in my office and we're going to go through how I walked the Camino De Santiago backwards. This is my Camino journey. Take yourself back in time. It is the middle of March 2018 and my partner at the time just broke up with me. I was 18, and when you are 18 those relationships you've had for a couple of years are such a big deal. And I remember at the time being completely distraught, heartbroken, but it also came at a time that I was just getting into my stride with travelling. I'd been to quite a few countries and quite a lot of different things. I'd done quite a lot in the UK as well. I mean, at this point I was going away every couple of weeks, just doing a couple of days away, whether it was wild camping or hiking, and I really wanted to expand on that. So my world was torn apart, but the only thing I knew, the only thing I could think of was, right, this is an opportunity. I'm carefree, I've got, really no bills, no mortgage, a job that I could just walk away from. And I thought, right, this is it, I'm going to go on a massive adventure. The one thing I'd always wanted to do was walk back from somewhere. That idea of flying out to a country that was a couple of thousand miles away and just walking back home, the simplicity of it really enticed me. So I went on Skyscanner the same night actually, and started looking at flights. Skyscanner is a flight comparison site. It's really quite good. I mean, it's got a bit more expensive over the years as it's become popular, but Anyway, so I've got myself a Skyscanner and just started looking for flights. Skyscanner's got an option on there where you can put where you're flying from, so I just put UK because I thought the cheapest airport will do, and then everywhere, and just let Skyscanner decide where I was going to end up. One of the flights that came up, and it was the top flight because it was the cheapest one, was £31, and it was going to Spain, a place called Vigo or Vigo, depending on how you pronounce it. And that was it. I booked it. I didn't even look into the journey at all. I was like, right, I can see where Vigo is on a map. It's west coast of Spain. That is definitely far enough for me to walk the way all the way back home to the UK. It was a journey of just under 2,000 miles. The flight was booked for a couple of weeks later. Originally I was going to go within days of all this happening, and I thought, right, let's just have some time, let my job know that I'm going to quit. I was a litter picker on a landfill site, so it wasn't really much of a job to leave, but I thought I'd give it a couple of weeks, earn some more money, and then that's it, we'll pack it in and just leave. The flight was around about 3 weeks later. The flight took place from Edinburgh Airport. Now, I used to live in Birmingham, and Birmingham and Edinburgh are really quite far away, as you can imagine. Especially when you've got no car as well, and the only way you can get between those two is either by having your dad take you, which wasn't the idea of self-sufficiency and going off and adventuring, or by megabus, which is what I did. When I megabus, booked my ticket, Birmingham to Edinburgh Waverley, up in Edinburgh near the airport, and that was it. I was off, £10, and it was the most horrific coach journey of my life. I have been through coaches in the Himalayan mountains with barely any suspension on, and I've never been on a coach journey quite like that one going to Edinburgh. We came out of Birmingham, got on the M6, and we were heading up, and it was just stop, start, stop, start, stop, start traffic for a good 2 or 3 junctions. Luckily, after a couple of hours, we finally broke free of that traffic, and the driver could let his road rage out and just speed his way all the way up to Glasgow, where I then made a change there, all the way to Edinburgh, and then sat in the airport for a good couple of hours just waiting for my flight. And I hadn't slept at all in that period either because I was paranoid I was going to miss each connection. And then when I got to the airport, I thought, oh, I could sleep. The flight was in a couple of hours. It wasn't worth missing the flight, was it? So I stayed awake for nearly a full 24 hours. Finally boarded the flight out to Vigo. Still had no idea the Camino Portuguese or the Camino Frances even existed. And I flew out. I was on the plane, reading through, having a look at where we were going, and it was only then that I noticed that Vigo was on a Camino trail, a famous walking trail, famous pilgrimage, all the way from Porto in Portugal, all the way up to Santiago. I think it just starts slightly further down south than that. And I thought, oh, that's great, I can use this walking trail to head up to Santiago, get a bit up the coast, get some steps in, and then we'll just head straight across Spain. Again, still at this point just thinking, I'll just walk across Spain. Not really sure, got my camping kit, we'll just set up, while camp for the night, that's fine. So land in Vigo, check into my Airbnb, and the woman there was really nice. She didn't speak any English at all, I remember turning up with my massive rucksack and walking down this corridor, just knocking every painting and mirror along the way. But she was really nice, but I remember at the time thinking she must have looked at me and thought, you English buffoon, who have I let stop in my beautiful apartment? The first thing I had to do when getting there was get camping gas for my camping stove, and that was a major problem, especially when you don't speak Spanish, and I had no idea where the outdoor shops are going to be in Vigo. In fact, I'm not sure I got camping gas until a couple of days later. I spent hours and hours going around Vigo looking for different groceries and bits and pieces to pick up. I was so paranoid about this being a massive journey and wanting to carry everything I possibly could in my 70-litre rucksack, which, I mean, as you can imagine, just didn't go well at all. I had a very, very heavy rucksack. In fact, I had my laptop with me as well for the entire journey, because for some reason I thought I was going to vlog it the entire way back. Turns out I made one video around about a week into the journey, and that never really materialised to anything. I did nearly find the clips for it the other day, and yeah, it wasn't that interesting. The next morning I set out onto the Camino Portuguese, and it was only then I realised how popular that Portuguese trail was, and I thought, wow, this is brilliant. I can walk with a few pilgrims. I met someone from Germany and we walked together for a couple of days. She was trying to learn English at the time. I spoke bits of vague German, but I was kind of being a bit of a British tourist. So she spoke English a lot of the time and was learning off me, and we played just random games while walking along and talk about each other's family. But it was the first time that I've ever had that sort of interaction with someone where it was a relationship for like a couple of days, a friendship for a couple of days, and you could just chat and talk about whatever you wanted to, because you knew at the end of it they were going to get to Santiago, which was 4 days away. They were going to finish, she was heading back to Germany, and that was it. It was like another story and another person to talk to along the way. The Camino Portuguese, for anyone who hasn't walked it, is actually really quite quiet in comparison to the Frances, because I got to Santiago after 4 days, and it was only in Santiago I thought, oh wow, hang on, there's another walking trail here, and this walking trail goes all the way from Santiago back to France. Well, that is quite convenient, isn't it? And I started walking backwards, basically, because the way to walk the Frances is from France all the way out to Santiago, and you can go out to the Finisterre out by the ocean as well. And I started walking backwards, and I had the best month of my life. It was a really weird experience because everyone was walking the opposite way. The whole time that I was walking for that whole month across Spain, there was one other guy apparently who was walking the wrong way, but he was always a few days ahead of me. I never quite caught him up. I was actually walking about 30-40 miles a day at one point to try and just meet him, just see why he was walking backwards, but I never materialised to anything. You'd have, I had a whole week where I didn't even hear anything about him, no one had seen him, and then the following week it was like, oh, there's another guy, yeah, he's walking backwards, so like a ghost on the Camino I was following. One of the main things about being on the Camino is you say Buen Camino to everyone, and I've written it down. It says, it means good road or good path. That's what it literally translates to in Spanish, but it's a really nice greeting on the Camino to say to everyone. And when I walked backwards, I was probably walking against maybe 100, 150 people a day, and I spent my entire day going, oh, Buen Camino, Buen Camino, Buen Camino, Buen Camino. It was just, it was an experience like no other, walking that Camino backwards. Because most people will meet others in albergues and hostels, etc. at the start of the Camino, and then there's a good chance they might walk with those people for the entire month, and that's really nice because they've never met them before. It's an experience, new people, but I got to meet different people every single day of that journey, because I got to a hostel in the evening, I made some friends, we'd cook dinner, we'd chat, stay up late, go out drinking, went clubbing with some Irish people, an Irish bar. Just the Camino is an insane trail, it truly is, but as I said, I just got to meet all these amazing people, and then the next day it was like, right, see you later, you're walking that way, I'm going this way, let's meet some new people. And that is an experience that for me is priceless. The Camino was always priceless. But I think because I walked it backwards, because I got to say Buen Camino as many times as I did, because I got to meet as many different people as I did, because I had a different experience that everyone else did, it made it that bit more special to me. And I remember when I got to France and finished the Camino Trail, it was a shame. It really was a shame, because I cycled then from France back to the UK, because while crossing the Pyrenees, because the Camino goes to the Pyrenees over the French way. When I got to that point, I went over on my ankle. I'd had a bad ankle for pretty much the whole of the journey, but I'd been using my walking poles just to get past that. My ankle gave in finally when we got to France, and I decided, right, let's just cycle back. I love cycling. I've done a lot of cycle touring over the years, and that's what I did. And I ride back after 2.5 months being out. 2.5 months. And I will never ever forget that journey. And if I get the chance to go back and do the Camino again, I jump at it. If you're thinking of doing a Camino, and that's the reason you're watching this video, then I couldn't recommend it enough. Caminos are an experience you will never forget, but they're so difficult to describe because everyone has their own journey. And unless you walk your journey, you won't fully understand what a Camino is about. And I hope sincerely to go back in the next sort of 12 months, 2 years time, and go and walk that Camino again, take a month out from life and go and walk it the right way and have that experience differently. Thank you for watching the videos today. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a bit different. I've got lots of travel stories to tell, but today it's just been a bit of a grim, rainy day. I didn't really fancy going out and doing much walking. I have actually been out this morning, walked a half-day route that I've got to walk tomorrow with a group, and really wet and boggy. Not the day to film a video, let's put it that way. So there might be more of these travel videos coming if the summer doesn't pick back up. I'll see you soon.